Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you are doing well on this Monday morning as we continue to adjust to life under these new circumstances for a while. It looks like this is going to last quite a while, frankly. So that need that we feel to keep connected and rooted in community just grows stronger and stronger by the day. We invite you to join us through this journey through Daniel together. The book of Daniel is a fascinating book in the Bible, dealing with both how certain believers of the one true God, certain Jewish people lived during a time of exile when their life was turned upside down. And then the second half is kind of completely different. Some apocalyptic literature that also reminds us that God is the ultimate victor. And as his people, we can have confidence in that. So we want to invite you to join us on this journey. We want you to grab your Bible at some point today and read Daniel chapter 1. Now, if you have one of these big, fat, thick study Bibles, then that's a great thing to have. If all you have is a phone app or something like that, that's okay too. All that's good. We just want you to get in the Word. Now, we're not going to read all this together today. We want you to get in the Word and read Daniel chapter 1 this week. And then we want you to come back and let us know just some insights that you had. There's a few things I want you to look at as Daniel chapter 1 sets the stage. One of the main themes in Daniel is God's sovereignty over things, over governments, over the world. So I want you to look for that today in chapter 1. Specifically, look at Daniel chapter 1, verses 2 and 9, and answer the question, even in the comments, what does that tell us about how God interacts with the world that we live in? What does it mean that God allows things? And this is a place that we can ask those questions. So look for that today in your reading. After you get through the first 7 verses, which kind of sets the stage, then you see one of the major themes in Daniel begin to play out. What does it mean to be faithful in a hostile world? Look and answer the question, how does Daniel and his friends, how do Daniel and his friends live faithfully to God when everything around them is pushing them not to, and in fact, telling them not to? What does it mean to fully depend on God as Daniel does in verse 8, even when the world around you is going in a different direction? What kind of courage does it take? Look through chapter 1 and see examples of faithfulness to God and how that plays out. And then ask yourself this question. Again, we'd love to see you respond. What does that need to look like for you? How can you and I together live faithfully to what God has called us to in this world that we live in? Now, they were experiencing exile from home, Jerusalem. They had been driven out. Jerusalem had gone through many different things over the time, as we see here in particular. It had come under besiegement from Nebuchadnezzar. But in our world, where we're still free to worship and we're still free to do what we want, there's still these cultural pressures, aren't there? There's still these cultural pressures to live certain ways and do certain things. So how can we be faithful to the call of Christ? And what can we learn from Daniel chapter 1 to help encourage us to continue to do that? So those are just a few things that I want you to look at today. When we talked about how God is interacting, you can also see examples of that in verse 17 as well. So note that. And then see, ultimately, because of God's interaction, how Daniel and his friends were proven right. And what encouragement can that give us? What does it mean for us to trust in God fully and completely, even when it doesn't make sense. So I hope you'll read with us today. I hope you'll join us through this journey. We're not always going to read a full chapter every day, but Daniel 1 kind of sets the stage and gives us the first example of a few things that we're going to see over and over again. One, that God is in control and we can trust in that. Two, that God has called us to be faithful. And three, God is faithful to us in the midst of trying times. So, hope you'll read it. Hope you'll join us. Daniel chapter 1. We did that in 5.5 minutes. We'll see what it looks like each day, but we invite you to join us on the journey. Daniel chapter 1. Can't wait to see your comments. Let us know if you read. Let us know what you saw, and let us know what questions you have. Thanks, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow morning.